On his first Veterans Day in office, President Trump tonight is in Hanoi, Vietnam. At a state dinner, the president praised Vietnam as one of the great miracles of the world. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson visited a Vietnam War prison where American POWs, including Republican Senator John McCain, were beaten and tortured. Mr. Trump, meanwhile, says he received another denial from Vladimir Putin about election meddling. Does he believe it? Here's Margaret Brennan.
Presidents Trump and Putin appeared friendly during a two-day economic summit in Vietnam. Later, aboard Air Force One, the president told reporters that he asked Putin once again about U.S. election interference. He said he absolutely did not meddle in our election. He did not do what they're saying he did, the president said. I really believe when he tells me that. He means it.
Trump lights up Twitter with thoughts about Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong Un. President Trump fired off a series of unfettered tweets Saturday calling out the haters and fools and addressed his relationships with foreign leaders who often share tense relationships with the U.S. One tweet in particular took issue with North Korea leader Kim Jong Un, where Mr. Trump felt insulted for being called old and in return called the dictator short and fat. Trump talks possible friendship with Kim Jong Un during Vietnam trip. The bulk of the posts were about Russia and Vladimir Putin, who the president briefly met on the sidelines at the APEC summit in Vietnam. There, Mr. Trump reportedly questioned Putin several times about Russian meddling in the 2016 election, an allegation Putin denied, which Mr. Trump said he believed. Mr. Trump's Russia tweets expressed hope for better relations with Russia. The tweets also were aimed to discredit the worthiness of investigations and continuous reporting looking into the extent of Russia's interference and whether Mr. Trump officials had any role to play. Met with President Putin of Russia, who was at number 8 PEC meetings. Good discussions on Syria. Hope for his help to solve, along with China, the dangerous North Korea crisis. Progress being made. When will all the haters and fools out there realize that having a good relationship with Russia is a good thing, not a bad thing? They're always playing politics bad for our country. I want to solve North Korea, Syria, Ukraine, terrorism, and Russia can greatly help. Still on Russia, Trump proceeded to toss former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and President Obama into the mix, declaring that his predecessor had zero chemistry with Putin. Does the fake news media remember when crooked Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, was begging Russia to be our friend with a misspelled reset button? Obama tried also, but he had zero chemistry with Putin. On China and North Korea, Mr. Trump voiced optimism for progress in the region, claiming Chinese President Xi Jinping is now willing after meeting with him to apply stronger pressure on the reclusive dictatorship to help deter nuclear proliferation. President Xi of China has stated that he is upping the sanctions against Norco. Said he wants them to denuclearize. Progress is being made finally. In one of the more bizarre tweets of the bunch, the president called North Korean leader Kim Jong Un out by name, claiming that Un had inflated already existing criticisms of Mr. Trump by calling him old. Mr. Trump then expressed an openness to maybe one day become friends with a dictator. Why would Kim Jong Un insult me by calling me old when I would never call him short and fat? Oh well, I try so hard to be his friend and maybe someday that will happen. The president's current stop along his nearly 2-week trip to Asia is in Hanoi, Vietnam, where he met with President Quang for a joint press conference. After that, he will wrap up his historic trip in the Philippines.